All right, welcome back to another episode of The Fourth Bag. And Dean, it's been almost a year that we've last done this.
Yeah.
We did 19 episodes before we kind of went off on a hiatus, and you are now in the area. Where are you living now?
That's right, Chris. I moved to Baden yesterday.
And so the first thing you do when you get back in town is film The Fourth Bag.
Well, this is as good a time as any to revive the fourth bag with the subject matter we got going on right now in both WWE and in the NFL.
Perfect. Well, let's cheers to that. I've got one of my near beers, and you have a
Mike's Hard Orange and Cream. Tastes
Cheers.
just like a creamsicle.
So we could talk about Vince McMahon, but I don't think that we could talk about anything after talking about Vince McMahon. So why don't we save that till the end?
Very heavy shit.
We talk about the NFL first. So the NFL season that was, for me personally, my Green Bay Packers had a small victory. They beat the Cowboys in the playoffs. They won a playoff game. Almost beat the 49ers. And for me, that's a win. That's a good season.
Packers had a great season. A lot better than what most were expecting. You know, I don't think anybody expected them to make the playoffs. It seems like almost a seamless transition from Rodgers to Love.
How about the Lions?
I think a lot of people expected that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what they expected playoff success-wise, but I think a lot of people expected them to win that division. I most certainly did.
Yeah.
I thought they would get over that 9.5 with relative ease.
Did you have lots of those total team win totals for the year?
I did have quite a few of them.
And how'd you make out in those?
I had mixed results, but I think I was up a bit.
Good. So what would you be betting on during the season? Are you still doing, I know you got your Survivor hat on there. Were you doing the Survivor contest, or what were you betting on?
I did do that. I went down to Circa, and I registered for the Circa Million and for Circa Survivor. Circa Survivor, I got knocked out in week 10 when the Texans beat the Bengals. Who's that guy who dropped that ball in the end zone? Tyler Boyd?
Okay.
I think it was. Yeah, the Bengals had a chance.
CJ Stroud and the Texans they're a team to be reckoned with for a long time.
Yep. When you hit on a rookie quarterback in the draft, you get tons of financial flexibility the next few years.
Absolutely.
I'll have more on that in a little bit with the 49ers.
What about Bill Belichick?
Well, I think my dad would have been happy to see the Patriots this season. He was never really a big Belichick fan, never really happy to see the way Belichick kind of ran Brady off New England.
How many quarterbacks played for New England this year? Do you have any idea?
They had Zappy, they had Mac Jones.
It seemed like a carousel.
Did they have another one? It felt that way just because they both kind of were pedestrian at best. But they were 4-13 this year. And Belichick was he fired? Did mutually agree to part ways, I think is the official term they called it.
But he hasn't been hired by somebody else. I think that's also big news. He didn't get a job elsewhere yet.
Nope, he did not. That is the biggest, one of the biggest headlines of this offseason. Well, I guess this coaching carousel.
What do you think about Harbaugh now getting the job with the Chargers? He said he was starstruck meeting Justin Herbert.
I had watched the Pat McAfee show, and in an early December segment, I had heard about that conversation where Harbaugh was very keen on Justin Herbert, and it seemed like Harbaugh to the Chargers was something that was probably going to happen.
And so the playoffs we're down to two teams. We've got the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. And if you've been watching CBS and you've been watching Chiefs games for the last couple months, there's been a movement, a presence. There's been Taylor Swift taking over the NFL, taking over the Kansas City Chiefs, taking over all of this airtime. What do you think about Taylor Swift in the NFL and Travis Kelce?
Well, I hope that their relationship is happy and healthy, and that they seem to be.
Yeah.
It really doesn't bother me. You know, I think it's awesome. I think it's great that more 12-year-old girls are watching football than ever. And it's really just getting more eyeballs on the sport in general.
Yeah. So Taylor Swift She is going to actually be in Japan this week. She's performing on her Eras tour. And the Japan embassy actually issued a statement saying that she would be able to make it to the Super Bowl on time and not to worry about her travel plans.
Oh, very nice. I'm glad that Taylor Swift's travel plans are a subject related to the Super Bowl.
I'm not joking.
That's fantastic.
She's gonna for her boyfriend. She is going to travel. I don't know how many hours the flight is. 12 hours of flight and 17-hour time difference. She's going to make it there for the game. There's actually tons of props on the Super Bowl. Are you much of a prop better for the game, or are you more of what do you bet on?
I do dabble in props. Usually, over unders on receiving yards, passing yards,
like legitimate bets.
Touchdown score. Yeah. Well, I mean they don't really offer the exotic props during the season that you get in the Super Bowl.
So the Super Bowl has. Let me just bring up FanDuel here. Oh, actually, here's another one. Gronk, the Kick of Destiny. That's something that FanDuel's going to run. They're going to run it back. And you can win your share of $1 million in bonus bets. Do you think Gronk's going to make the kick or miss the kick this year?
I think he's going to make it. I think it's been stuck in his craw all year that he missed that kick. They've even made light of it in the commercials. I imagine he's put in the work and that he will make it this time. Not that I'm betting on that per se.
Who do you think has a better chance of making that kick, Gronk or John Cena?
I'm going to say Gronk. I have no idea if John Cena can kick a football or if that was even John Cena that John Cena was portraying, or if he was just portraying some character in that commercial.
Now, there's lots of different... I'm trying to find the props on this page here, but anyways, I mentioned earlier the total number of viewers in Canada. How many viewers do you think are going to be watching this game in Canada?
How many do I think, or what do I think?
What do you think the line is set at?
12.5 million.
So it's 17.5 million right now. So I guess you'll take the under on that one.
Yeah, I mean, last I checked, the population of Canada is high 30s. So they're saying almost half of Canada's watching this Super Bowl? That'd be astounding. Wow.
Coin toss. You gonna bet on the coin toss this year, Dean? It's minus 104 on both sides.
Minus 104.
It's a sucker bet.
Wow. Well, yeah. I mean, there's no line value there.
Give me a head. I'll bet $1 right now. Heads or tails?
Heads.
Heads for $1.
Why not?
We're gonna see how many of these $1 bets we can make here live, and then we can actually have evidence to see how well you do on these prop bets. Done.
Not that I'm betting any of these personally.
National anthem length. What do you think the over/under is set at?
1 minute and 45 seconds.
So it's 90.5, so a minute 30.
A minute 30.
So you'll take the over at plus 102.
Yeah, they usually tend to stretch it out in the big games. So I think the over's probably a good play. Again, I don't know if I like that enough to actually bet it.
Now, do you like the color of the first Gatorade poured on the head coach? What's your favorite color, Dean? What color Gatorade?
My favorite Gatorade color? Is my favorite color of Gatorade or my favorite color?
What do you think they're going to throw on the coach?
I'm hoping it's lemon lime because that's my favorite Gatorade.
So lemon lime has the second shortest odds at plus 380. So we'll go with that. We'll go for $1.
Why not?
And now we did the 17.5 million bet. The temperature at kickoff, this is in Celsius. What do you think has the shortest odds? Give me a 5-degree span for the shortest odds.
Games in Las Vegas?
Yeah, Celsius.
At 3 p.m. roughly.
Yeah.
I would imagine it'd be about 25 degrees Celsius at kickoff.
Wow, plus 1,600.
Really?
So the shortest odds are actually 11 to 15 degrees at minus 150.
I haven't looked at a weather forecast, but
you know what? For $1, Dean, for plus 1,600, who knows what the weather could be? It could change.
Not that I'm betting on it. I haven't looked at a weather forecast. I have no idea what it's like in Vegas right now, but for it to be 11 to 15 degrees Celsius in Las Vegas at 3 in the afternoon would be astounding, even in February.
Which coach will throw the first challenge flag?
Talk about a coin toss.
So it's actually not a coin flip. There's one that's actually shorter odds than the other.
No. I'm not saying it isn't. It's one of those things. Who knows what call is going to happen
right.
That's going to warrant somebody throwing a challenge flag.
So Andy Reid is minus 135, or he gets some value with Shanahan at plus 115. They must have some history that Shanahan doesn't throw as many challenge flags.
That is that slightly fewer, because those are that's a very small favorite.
Will there be a doink?
As in the ball hits the uprights on a kick attempt.
Exactly. Field goal or PAT, you get both. Plus 650 or minus 1,000.
Yes would be plus 650.
So I could bet $1 on no, and I would, what do you win on a negative 1,000? I mean, 10 cents?
10 cents.
10 cents on the dollar. I'll pass on that one. Yeah. Now here we go. What we've been waiting for, this prop. Will the MVP mention Taylor Swift in his speech?
Will he mention Taylor Swift in his speech?
What do you think the plus odds are on yes?
Plus 600?
Plus 600, exactly.
Wow.
Minus 1,100 on the no. So I guess that's kind of like asking, will Travis Kelce be MVP? But the Travis Kelce MVP odds, I think, are much, much shorter. Sorry, much longer.
Yeah, that's right.
So I guess maybe Mahomes mentions Taylor Swift. Thanks
for
coming.
Why not? I mean, Taylor Swift's been relevant this whole NFL season. It's only fitting that if the Chiefs were to win, that she get a mention.
All right, so we'll throw $1 on yes. Will Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift?
Why not? I doubt he will, but why not? You know,
for $1 at plus 870, let's just throw $1 down.
I'm not endorsing any of these picks that we've done so far.
Okay, so now let's actually talk about some real bets. The MVP of the game. That's a classic one.
Yes. So
typically you get your quarterbacks as your top two. No questions here. It's plus 135 for Mahomes, plus 200 for Purdy. McCaffrey comes in at plus 450, and I can mention Kelce is plus 1,700. Then you got Debo, Pacheco, Ayuk, Kittle, and Rice. Are you taking a quarterback?
Well, if the Chiefs win, I think almost certain. Well, actually, not almost certain, but there's a very good chance Mahomes will win the MVP. Personally, I give the edge to the Niners in this game. So,
do you like Purdy or McCaffrey, or Debo at 2,000?
2,000?
2,000 for Debo.
I would take that as a value play. I think that's a good value play. I mean, there's a good chance Debo can go off.
If he gets maybe like a return touchdown or he gets a rushing touchdown, maybe he gets 100 yards.
Well, yeah, I mean, you need to have an exceptional game to win an MVP as a receiver, but he can have that exceptional game. He's been featured heavily in their game plans. He was featured heavily in the game plan against the Packers and got injured in the first quarter, so that didn't go their way. But
you've convinced me already, Dean. I've already got the dollar's already placed. Interesting. Super Bowl MVP Brock Purdy versus the field. Also Mahomes versus the field. So you were saying you think it's going to be the 49ers. You give the edge to them. Minus 280 for the field. Plus 200 for Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
No value there, I don't think.
Not really, no.
MVP winner position. Yeah, nothing else I really want to talk about there. So let me look at my actual bets that I placed before this show. You can just scroll through all these stupid prop bets. So Travis Kelce to score a touchdown. I got that at plus 165. So I took that for a $5 bonus bet.
Travis Kelce?
Travis Kelce to score a touchdown.
Yeah, I think he can have a big game here. Laporta had a big game for the Lions against the Niners. I think Kelce can do something similar.
McCaffrey for 2 touchdowns at plus 470.
What? Plus 470?
Plus 470 for 2 touchdowns for McCaffrey.
Wow, there's some value there, I think.
Threw $5 down on that one as well. I like to do these anytime touchdown parlays. So I took McCaffrey, Pacheco, Kelce, and Ayuk at plus 1456 on a $5 bet. My receiving yards, Kelce over 70.5, Ayuk over 63, MVS over 19.5, and then a touchdown from Kelce and Ayuk. That's plus 1,800. And then all of our silly bets. So if you were to bet on the Super Bowl, do you have any advice for the casual gambler? Because it seems like this has to be probably the most gambled on event of the sports calendar, of the calendar year.
Yes.
What would you give as sort of advice to your casual gambler? Bet what you can lose?
That's always good advice. You never want to bet more money than you can afford to lose. Don't bet on the coin toss because there is no possible line value there. Well, bet whatever the hell you want as long as you can afford to lose. Really, but
as you can tell by the $7 we just bet on 7 random $1 props, well, they're just going to be fun to look back on.
Yeah, but these are $1 bets. That's pretty much you could there's a couple opportunities to win a single one of them and win money in it.
But every dollar we place on here, Dean, is one less dollar for Marcy's Playground.
Well, actually, you're betting Canadian dollars.
Oh, no, that's right.
And Marcy's Playground has American dollars in it.
Fair. Fair.
I think it has about 625 of them last time I checked. I can't remember the exact number, but I would guess, yeah.
Did you bring any surprise candy bars?
No.
I would be lying if I said I wasn't hoping you did.
I haven't been to the U.S. in a few months, so I haven't picked up any.
The stockpile is low.
I did at the Canadian Open eat a big tart for the first time since I was a little kid, and
delicious. Don't tell me. It's my favorite chocolate bar.
They really that's crazy.
The big turd.
I mean, it's well, basically one of the guys I know from St. Thomas offered it to me, and I said, "I'm playing so bad, I deserve to eat that." And
now, was it a Big Turk or was it the Big Turk Bites?
No. It was a Big Turk. It was a big Turk. So
you get a double.
Yeah, it was 2 bars. So I ate one of the bars and he ate the other one. And I mean, it's basically just a chocolate covered Swedish berry.
Yeah, that's why it's awesome.
I don't know. It's not as good as it sounds, given that it's a chocolate covered Swedish berry.
Did it have the whiteness on the chocolate because it was really old? Because that's disgusting.
But
if it was fresh, they're delicious.
I think there was a little bit of whiteness on the bottom of the bar, yeah. But I still enjoyed it more than I enjoyed the poutine at the Niagara Convention Center. That was just wrong.
Do you want to talk about any of your cornhole results at Niagara, or do you want to skip right into some Vinnie Mac?
Well,
You guys won the teams event, didn't you?
We did win the teams event, yeah. 2nd year in a row, we won the Canada portion of the teams event.
Now, why are you all captains on those shirts? I couldn't figure that out.
I don't know. I mean, that was
I thought there'd be one captain.
That's usually how it works with a captain. There's a captain, maybe an assistant captain. Well, I don't know why you stumped me. I don't have a good answer.
It bothers me. I'm like, why is there 6 captains on this team? So speaking of captains, Captain Connor Weiss, or I think he's captain, and then Adam Hubbard's the general manager. He posted some photos of his team, and if you look at Connor in every single one of his pictures, he's just like this. Exact same face in every single photo. I'm not sure how he can pull that off, but he did. But he smiled once.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. That's my tidbit for the day.
There we go. That's a good.
The things you find when you scroll through Facebook.
I hadn't looked at these, but there we go. That's.
If you were to be on a team, which team would you want to be drafted by?
What in the?
If you were to be drafted into one of those 6 teams as a non-pro.
One of the pro teams.
We got Montreal, Toronto Tower, Calgary, and St. John's.
I guess Calgary. I would just a game of rock, paper, scissors. Spot.
Fair enough.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to actually watch those events. And Drummondville's coming up in a couple of weeks, so we can actually watch these teams and see how the teams event pans out.
Yeah.
All right, Dean. You brought your laptop. You got some news on Vince McMahon. I don't know. So first of all, this is a great time to turn the show off right now. So the stuff we're about to talk about is completely inappropriate. And I urge you that if you don't want to listen, just please, this is a great time to sign off and turn it off. There's some pretty disturbing things that are going to be talked about, but we do like wrestling, and this is big wrestling news, so we're going to dive into a little bit of it.
This is some of the biggest wrestling news ever.
So with that, Dean, I made sure not to use any work computers to Google this stuff. I did it all from the comfort of my home. I listened to a few podcasts. I got up to speed on a few things, but you know it better than I do, so why don't you dive in?
Well, the details were, you can't even say outlined. They were talked about quite substantially in a 67-page complaint filed by a woman named Janelle Grant, who is from Connecticut, and the information I found about her says she's 43 years old. I don't know if that's true, but anyway, she was looking for a job in early 2019, and Vince McMahon lived in the penthouse duplex in the building where she lived in one of the condos. And Vince knew the building manager personally, so Janelle Grant asked the building manager to put her in touch with Vince, and Vince said, "Hell yes, I'll help her." And next thing.
And what was her position at the company? Was she in like a law clerk of some sort?
Her official title was the made-up title of administrator coordinator, which was a position made up for I don't know. It sounds very official though.
Okay. So the administrator coordinator, Janelle Grant, has a job now at the WWE. What next?
Well, first thing, she got a VIP experience at WrestleMania 35 in MetLife Stadium. Vince gave her tickets to the Belmont Stakes. And later on I think that's in June. I'm not a horse racing. So she was getting perks. And when it came time to actually talk about the job, Vince greeted her in his underwear. And
where was this?
This was in
Like at headquarters or something like that, or
I believe it was I believe this was in one of their in their building. It was I think it was in his duplex, his penthouse or whatever.
Okay.
So he greeted her in his underwear and started demanding hugs. And then
like Brandon Brown demanding hugs.
Well,
I'm not comparing Brandon Brown to Vince McMahon. That he's the hugger. Just to be clear.
I have never seen Brandon Brown demand a hug in his underwear. So let's. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I seriously doubt Brandon is.
We love you, Brandon.
We don't need to be lumping Brandon Brown into this conversation at all.
Okay.
So, so she got a salary of $75,000, and
that's pretty decent.
It's a pretty decent salary, yeah.
Perks.
Plus perks, yeah. And I mean, seeing Vince in his underwear, that's not a perk. So apparently, it wasn't long before Vince started escalating things, and it got weird. She was uncomfortable with it, but Vince reminded her that he has world-class legal resources on speed dial, and that he could deal with her if she became a problem.
Oh.
And that he wanted her to keep their closeness a secret.
Okay. So Vince basically said that I can keep you quiet.
Yes, he did. So.
And did she keep quiet? Because it sounds like she spoke out.
Well, eventually she did, but we've got a little bit of ways to go before we. Well, okay, we can talk about that now. Sure. She spoke out because he reneged on the $3 million in that she was promised.
Was that like hush money, or what is that?
Basically.
Okay.
So we'll have more on. We'll talk about that a little more once we get to the end of this. So, paragraph 20 of the complaint.
The 67-page complaint.
Paragraph 20 of the 67-page complaint.
Double spaced.
Is it? I couldn't believe that shit when I read it.
Is this the?
Paragraph 20 says that during a threesome on May 9th, 2020, Vince McMahon took a dump.
I think they used the word defecated.
He defecated. Yes, he defecated on Janelle Grant during a threesome. And then he went and showered and insisted she continue to perform. Covered in shit. I mean...
Wow.
Yeah. Now, the good times...
Now, who is the person involved? Do they mention who's involved in the threesome? Because I know Brock Lesnar finds his way into this saga somehow.
This specific threesome, I don't think it wasn't explicitly stated. But yes, Brock Lesnar
When they refer to other WWE superstars, it's Brock Lesnar.
Yes, WWE superstar is almost certainly Brock Lesnar, because in the summary notes, in the summary portion of the complaint, it also says he's a former UFC heavyweight champion, and there is nobody else. So, yeah, Vince started demanding that Miss Grant share sexually explicit photographs and videos of herself.
And did she?
Eventually, yes, with coercion. And I mean, at one point, Vince told her he loved her, and I don't know, and he reminded her that he had legal resources on speed dial. So yes, she did. And Vince started sharing them with other employees and people outside the organization, and
without her consent, I'm assuming.
Yeah, without her consent. I don't think anyone would ever consent to that. Yep, and yeah, Brock Lesnar. She was used as a tool to help Vince attempting to sign Brock to a new contract.
So Vince dangled her in front of Brock Lesnar as a carrot to bring him back to WWE.
Pretty much, yes. The complaint mentions that Brock Lesnar had an interesting fetish, where he requested that she urinate for him.
Okay.
She, I guess, send him a video of herself urinating. And it gets worse from here.
How?
Well, in 2021, Vince transfers her to John Laurinaitis, who's also a defendant in the suit.
Who's John Laurinaitis?
He was the former executive VP of, or the former, not executive, he was the former vice president of talent relations. He was a TV character for a time. He is actually the brother of Road Warrior Animal.
Okay.
And he wrestled for several years as Johnny Ace.
Okay.
And so Vince he sent her off to John Laurinaitis, and she now was reporting to him. He would insist, and John Laurinaitis insisted that before work, she serve him breakfast. And of course, breakfast means
eggs and bacon?
Yes, something like that. So now the threesomes started including Vince and John Laurinaitis. This is, I mean, we can't necessarily present this as, we're not presenting this as fact. This is just what's in the complaint.
Okay. The 67-page complaint.
The 67-page complaint, yes. Which, by the way, is the formal term for a lawsuit, right? So I assume by now Vince and John Laurinaitis have been served.
Okay.
And so now they started having threesomes, which were not consensual. And she would say no, and they would yell out, "No means yes." And
is this all coming from the complaint, these things that you're referencing? Are these coming from text messages? Where is this coming from?
Well, there are several of Vince's text messages included in the complaint, which is probably the most incriminating part of it. The fact that his words are in line with what's said in the complaint makes it very hard for them to say that she's making this up.
Right.
I mean, she began experiencing panic attacks, sleep disruption, dizziness, exhaustion, migraine headaches, rashes, hair and weight loss. In Vince's text messages, he basically texts like a 16-year-old, I guess. I don't know. We didn't have text messaging when we were 16, but he shortens the word U down to the letter U, the word B to the letter B, tomorrow to TMW. He spells pussy Pussey. So, yep. She was also exploited out to a WWE star in NYC for a live event and TV taping in March of 2022, and this one was not Brock Lesnar. At least that's what's said in the complaint. Possibly the most disturbing part of this complaint was...
You haven't talked about the most disturbing part yet?
I mean, we can argue, but possibly the most disturbing part of this complaint is that the complaint alleges that Vince McMahon has a collection of dildos which he names after male superstars
In his company.
in his company, past or present, I imagine, and he's color coordinated them. So he named a black dildo after a black superstar. He named a white dildo after a Caucasian superstar. He may well have named an orange dildo Hulk Hogan. The complaint says nothing about that. Maybe he named an orange dildo Donald Trump. We don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. Clearly Vince is depraved. And I have to believe there's others. I don't think people wake up at age 73 and just become depraved like this. I mean, in 2022, when the hush money payments scandal came out or was reported on by the Wall Street Journal, Vince, I think there was 15 million plus, and this is just 3 million of it. So the way this ends, Vince tells her that his wife found out about the affair. Linda, yes, Vince's wife Linda found out about the affair, and he started pressuring her to sign an NDA, which she did with heavy coercion.
Sorry, who was being pressured to sign the NDA?
Janelle Grant was.
Okay.
With heavy coercion from Vince, she did. And one of the terms of the NDA was that he pay her $3 million.
Okay.
He paid her $1 million and then didn't bother with the other $2 million. And
so is she breaching her NDA that I'm assuming she signed by coming out now and telling her story?
The complaint says no.
Okay.
And the reason that the complaint says no, and it lays this out very precisely, is that, for starters, the Speak Out Act means that you cannot be protected from rape and battery and sexual assault and all that stuff that he did just by making somebody sign an NDA.
Okay.
And then even if you could, he still reneged on his part of it. He was supposed to pay her $3 million and he only paid her $1 million.
And so because he never completed the payments of the NDA, she's not held accountable for her end of the bargain kind of thing?
Well, it's declared void. It's declared void. Or that's what her lawyers are pushing for in this litigation.
And so this doesn't just end overnight. This is going to last. I'm assuming that they'll get their day in court and they can go through this and try to reach an agreement. And let's say Vince is found guilty. He's already stepped down from his position at the TKO Group. Is that what it's called now?
Yeah, TKO Group.
So Vince has stepped down. What happens to Vince? Does he face jail time?
That depends if this is pursued criminally. And I have to think, first of all, the civil part may or may not get settled. She is going to ask, I imagine that her attorneys and Janelle Grant will ask for an exorbitant amount of money.
Yeah. 9
figures. I would think. I mean, you have to ask for, it's negotiation.
He's a millionaire.
Yeah, oh yeah, and he doesn't really want to go to, I don't really know. I'm not a legal expert, but there is a good chance this does get settled. But if it does go into civil court, yeah, it's not going to be good. There's going to be discovery. Who knows what's going to come out then?
Right.
There's going to be, if the case is litigated, there's going to be testimony in open court. And if he's charged criminally, and if he is charged criminally, he's got the kind of money to make prison into his own personal paradise. And I don't really want that to happen. So we'll see. Yeah, this is far from over. This
right.
And who knows about the other women too? Like we said, 15 million plus in hush money payments, and this is only 3 of it.
And this is just one person. There's got to be more.
Yeah, there's been sort of smoke, a lot of smoke around some of his nefarious behavior over the years. We've got all of these. Yeah, there almost certainly has to be more.
So, I could try to segue into something, but I can't.
There really is nothing left to talk about. What do you segue into after?
So here's another thing. Are you going to watch WrestleMania knowing what's going on with the WWE? Are you still a wrestling fan? Or has this sort of tainted the whole thing? You want nothing to do with it anymore?
It's hard. I gotta hear a little bit more because we don't know what other people knew. We don't, and the wrestlers themselves.
Are new wrestlers speaking out now, or Mick Foley or the Hardy Boys? I've seen a couple of them posting their opinions. Wrestlers are going to speak out and say what they want to say about this. I'm assuming they've got the right to say what they want to say.
Yes.
Like somebody, let's say like The Rock. The Rock's got millions of followers, millions of fans. Has he come out and said anything? Is he still going to perform on this company's stage?
Yes, he is. Okay. There we go. It's perfect. We can segue into this. So, The Rock is actually going to face, based on what they did on SmackDown on Friday, The Rock is going to wrestle Roman Reigns for the title at WrestleMania. They had Cody Rhodes and The Rock do a segment on TV where Cody essentially permitted The Rock to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for the title.
And you're saying permitted because he was entitled to because of his win at Royal Rumble?
Yes. Yeah, he's entitled to go after whatever title he pleases, and even though it makes perfect sense for Cody Rhodes to go after Roman Reigns to finish the story, that's not the direction they went. Now, they still have time to change that. The YouTube video of this segment was the most disliked wrestling video, at least the most disliked video WWE ever has put on YouTube in history.
Really?
Yes.
How many dislikes does it get?
I don't know. I'll have to look at it. But it was.
Excuse me.
And it makes sense why this video would be so panned by critics, because this video or this segment is incredibly damaging to Cody Rhodes as a character.
How many dislikes does it have up in the top here? I still got plus 15,000.
That's 15,000 likes. It doesn't say
how many dislikes.
It doesn't say how many dislikes on this video. But the damage this does to Cody Rhodes as an on-screen character, 300,000 dislikes on most. Yeah, here we go.
So you mentioned like bringing this story to an end. So was Cody Rhodes supposed to take over the title from a long-winded reign of Roman Reigns?
I think he still is. Realistically, if they go through with this, they'll have Cody Rhodes challenge Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title, which was sort of like a secondary world title created because Roman Reigns has not been around much and has been essentially part-time the last year, which is why they should have just gone ahead and have Cody beat Roman last year at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But they didn't. But even still, they could have Roman Reigns beat The Rock, and then Cody Rhodes beat Seth Rollins, and then they unify the titles at SummerSlam, and Cody ends that 4-year reign there. Okay.
Now I can actually tie The Rock back into football with the somewhat recent announcement that the UFL and the
USFL and
the XFL have now joined forces. So the XFL, which was reincarnated by Vince McMahon, originally started it.
Yes.
And then The Rock took over and brought it back to life last year. And now we have the XFL. Vince McMahon's original idea is being brought to life with the USFL to form the UFL, which is sort of like the minor leagues of the NFL, if you will, and they're going to kick off in a month or so. So somehow I just tied Vince McMahon to The Rock to football. But it can be done.
It all connects.
Connect the dots.
Vince McMahon and The Rock were standing side by side a couple weeks ago in with Times Square, New York City at the Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
They were standing side by side at that TKO presentation, and Triple H was not too far away from them.
I feel like The Rock just has such a brand that he needs to separate himself from Vince McMahon's story. And so I don't know like if he comes up and says something or if he just lets it go. But he's actually going to perform on that stage and take a 3 count from Roman Reigns.
I imagine he's going to lose that match, yes.
Oh.
Well, Vince McMahon's been scrubbed away from WWE. You know, he's not part of the company anymore. And for The Rock, probably the worst thing he can do is to talk about this and remind people who have nothing, or remind people that he is connected
So
to
say nothing
Vince and
about it at all.
WWE. So yeah, I mean, really, why would The Rock want to even connect his brand back to this?
Right.
Because I mean, The Rock has created a brand that has nothing to do with WWE, with what he, or at least what he was in, at least the character he was in the 90s and early 2000s. All
right. Well, we somehow got off the topic and got back to it and got off it again. Like you said, it's not over. We're going to hear about it for a while, but I think the best thing we can do about it is not talk about it until there's like, I don't know. What do you do?
What are we talking? We're talking about this complaint?
The complaint.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's really anything else to be said about it until we have a little more information. There are several unnamed corporate employees and officers mentioned in the lawsuit. They're just mentioned as corporate officer number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. I mean, if something comes to light about who they are and who knew about this, you know, there might be a little more to talk about. But for now, Vince McMahon's been scrubbed from WWE. Brock Lesnar has been kind of scrubbed from WWE. And we have this complaint that's, you know, I know I can't believe that shit. Can you believe that shit?
No.
But yeah, you know, until as time goes on, I'm sure there'll be more to talk about with this. There may be another woman who comes forward soon, for all we know.
Well, I think we can leave it at that, and I guess we'll end on classic Gamble versus the Gut Super Bowl pick. 49ers opened at -2.5 over the Chiefs. The line moved, I think, to about 1, maybe 1.5. It's back to 2.5.
Right.
So you can pick against the spread. Do you want the Niners or the Chiefs?
Well, I took the Niners to win the Super Bowl before the playoffs started.
Nice.
So I'll go with them here. I think that they're the better team. They've got the deeper team. Like we said in the opening, when you hit on a quarterback in the draft, you have tons of financial flexibility. When you hit on a quarterback who is the last pick,
Mr. Irrelevant,
it's incredible the talent that they have. And you know, they're just the Chiefs. You know, they just kind of barely escaped against Buffalo. They got fortunate against the Ravens. I don't know why Lamar Jackson thought throwing to Likely and triple coverage was a good idea.
They also abandoned the run game.
And that too. They had Gus Edwards had 3 carries. He ran his first one for 15. Why is he only getting 2 more the rest of the game?
Fair. All right, so you got the 49ers. I'm going to take the Chiefs. Go Travis Kelce, MVP. That's a great bet.
I think he has a big game.
I think he does too. All right, Dean. It's been a pleasure. Good to see you back in town. And we'll wrap it up there, and we'll see you again next time.
Sounds good, Chris. Let's...
Cheers.